of healing is also learning to release coping mechanisms that once kept you safe, alive, but now are limiting you and keeping you stuck, like hyper independence, emotional withdrawal, people pleasing, over explaining. The thing is, these patterns deserve compassion. Yes, because they help you survive back then.
Welcome to the Chains and Choices podcast, breaking free from cycles and embracing new possibilities.
There's a quiet moment that comes in healing, a moment where you realize that your past is no longer screaming but is still whispering. It shows up in different ways, from the way you love, the way you react, the way you protect yourself, the way you quickly shut down, or how deeply you overextend. You might not think about your childhood every other time, every other day, but its echoes still live in your life, in your body, in your relationships, in your inner conversations. And today, we are not rushing that truth. The thing is, we are sitting with it gently. Welcome to the Chains and Choices podcast by Ngina, where we break cycles and embrace new possibilities. Today's episode is about healing from the past, not in a complicated or overwhelming way, but through simple, practical steps that can help you begin and continue the journey of overcoming childhood trauma. This is not about perfection, it's about permission. The permission to heal at your own pace, in your own way. Okay? And one thing I have to tell you for sure is that healing from the past does not mean forgetting what happened to you back then. It means learning how to stop reliving it. It means you stop reliving your past. And many of us don't realize this, but trauma doesn't just live in memory. It lives in the nervous system. And that's why you can be safe today and still feel anxious. That's why you can be loved and still feel guarded. Your body learned how to survive long ago before your mind learned language for it. And healing is about slowly teaching your body that the danger has passed. Do you understand? Healing is about teaching your body that the danger has already passed. One of the first and most powerful steps in healing is acknowledgement without judgment. This is simply not minimizing your experience, not comparing it to someone else's pain, not explaining it away or telling yourself you should be over by now, over it by now. No. What hurt you mattered because it hurt you. Healing truly begins when you allow yourself to say quietly and honestly, that wasn't okay and it affected me. No blame, no shame, just the truth. Simple. Do you understand? From there, healing asks you to feel safe again. Many of us learn to numb simply because feeling too much once felt dangerous. So, a gentle feeling technique is creating safe spaces for emotion. Maybe that looks like sitting with your thoughts for 5 minutes a day, or allowing yourself to cry without rushing to stop it, or simply naming what you feel instead of suppressing it. You don't have to feel everything at once. The thing is, healing happens in small, manageable ways. And honestly, this is where journaling becomes powerful. Writing things down moves pain from your body onto the pages. This is simply transferring everything you're feeling on your nervous system and you put it down on paper. Do you understand? You can journal freely without structure. What you remember, what you feel, or rather what you wish someone had said to you. The thing is, some days journaling may be messy, other days it might be quiet. But the truth is, Both are valid. You are not writing to be eloquent, you are writing to be honest with yourself, to be honest with your emotions. And guys, another deeply supportive step in healing is therapy. Mhm. Therapy is not a sign of weakness or failure. It is a space where your experiences are witnessed without judgment. A therapist help you untangle patterns, understand your triggers, and learn tools that help you regulate your emotions. Sometimes healing requires support, and allowing yourself to receive it is an act of strength, not failure or weakness. You need to understand that. Okay? Now let's move on to another powerful step in healing, self reflection. This is basically the practice of looking inward and asking yourself questions with compassion, not interrogating yourself, but getting curious. Asking yourself questions like, why is this situation triggering me? What am I protecting myself from? Or what did I need in the past that I didn't receive? The thing is, self reflection will help you connect the dots between your past and the present so you can respond instead of reacting. And sometimes healing looks like pausing when you want to react, you know, taking a breath instead of responding, placing a hand on your chest and grounding yourself in the present moment. Asking yourself, is this about now or is this about then? Do you understand? You pause, you put your hand on your chest and be like, is this about now or is it about the past? You understand? That single question can create a safe space between your past wounds and your present reality. And guys, this takes us to another powerful technique, which is reparenting yourself. What do I mean? This is learning to give yourself what you didn't receive back then. This might look like setting boundaries without guilt, resting without feeling lazy, speaking to yourself gently instead of critically, or reassuring yourself when fear shows up. You become the safe space you once needed. Mhm. How is that? Now, let's talk about another powerful step, which is grounding. Grounding and routine are also essential, very essential, because trauma creates chaos in the nervous system. So, healing often begins with predictability. Simple practices like consistent sleep, gentle movement, breathing exercises, or even reminding yourself verbally, I am safe now. They help your body relearn safety. And these small things, these are not small things actually. They seem so small, but not so small. They are not small. These things are foundational. You are setting the foundation to freeing yourself from fear, to freeing yourself from childhood traumas. Part of healing is also learning to release coping mechanisms that once helped you survive, but right now they are limiting you or rather keeping you stuck. Things like being hyper independent, emotional withdrawal, over explaining, people pleasing. These patterns deserve compassion. Why? Because they help you survive. But healing invites you to gently loosen their grip and choose new ways of being that feel more aligned with who you are becoming. What am I saying? Healing is inviting you, or rather, healing invites you to loosen those grips, their grips, you know, and choose new ways of being that of being that you feel more aligned with who you are becoming. Do you understand? It's important to mention that healing from childhood trauma is not linear. Some days you'll feel strong, clear, and grounded. Other days, old feelings rise up unexpectedly, and that does not mean you are going backwards. It means you are progressing. You're healing. Healing is not about never being triggered, it's about responding to yourself with more understanding when you are. Simple. If you're listening to this and realizing that your past still shows up in your relationship, your self-worth, or your emotional reactions, I want you to hear this deeply. You're not broken. You are someone who learned to survive, and now you are learning to heal. And guys, as we come close to the end of today's episode, I want you to know this. Healing from the past is not the final chapter of your story, it's the doorway. When you begin to understand your pain, tend to your wounds, or show up for yourself with compassion, something powerful starts to shift. In the next episode, we are going to be talking about rewriting your story, about thriving beyond childhood trauma, reclaiming your power, and rediscovering your identity outside of what you survived. We will explore what it looks like to stop living in survival mode and start living with intention, confidence, and wellness. And guys, as we close, remember this: healing is not a destination you arrive at one day. It is a relationship you build with yourself through therapy, through journaling, through self reflection, through gentle daily choices that say, I choose myself. Thank you so much for sitting with me today. Thank you for allowing yourself to soften, even just a little. That matters, and that will go a long way. The thing is, thank you so much for choosing healing, even when it feels uncomfortable. Remember, healing isn't linear. This is the Chains and Chases podcast by Ngina, where we break cycles and embrace new possibilities. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Healing from the past is still progress. Bye.